Welcome to episode 1 of Optimum Live. My name is Chris Dawes. I'm actually from Visual PR. We're the producers of this show. And I'm delighted to say that we're starting this new series with Optimum. The good news is it's not just me. More importantly, it's definitely not just me. We've got different people, potentially every month, from Optimum that are going to help bring this show to life. Let's bring in the first episode guest. And as if by magic, it's Michael Blaken. Hello, sir.
Hello, Chris. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I know that you've been nervously looking forward to this first episode.
Exactly that, nervous, yes.
The irony is that when we're talking off air, it's no problem. We're setting the world to right then, but now we've got to do it. Episode 1, though, we're going for launching this new series, and we're going to go and pick up the first, dare I say it, thorny subject, which we're trying to be as helpful as possible with the content here. And this one is the VAT threshold conundrum we settled on, didn't we?
That was it, yep.
Because frankly, it still sounds a challenging thing for everybody. So we're going to go into a lot more detail in that at the moment, that is really particularly for those that are growing as businesses, which I know is something that is very close to your heart, helping growing businesses.
Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of people starting up new businesses nowadays, so getting them to understand when they should be worried about VAT and when they need to be getting that included in their prices.
Well, exactly. And as a business owner myself, this is the second of my businesses that works with you guys. Open Doors Training was the first one that I set up, and the big thing is that I had no experience of everything that was suddenly required. And what I loved about Optimum, and I'm allowed to say this now, he might have to sort of be a bit more, downplay on it, but was that it's not just about doing the accounts. It is about having the advice, supporting us, not even sugarcoating it. I know that was one thing that you said, isn't it? It's giving us that advice to help us grow as organizations.
Yeah, and I think people have an expectation that they have to know what to do because they're in business. Now, you get a builder in because you don't know how to build a house or an extension. So you get them in because they're the specialists, they're the guys who know. And at the end of the day, as accountants, we know a lot more than a client would. So that it's our duty to try and get that information across to you and help you out. And
you have that sort of almost more holistic view, because obviously you get to see my accounts the whole time. We're sort of doing the online accounts and everything. And even if I've had it multiple times where I'd ask a question, you don't just give the textbook answer. You'll have gone into my accounts and go, well, Chris, we can see this. So basically, this is what needs to happen, or this is what it means. And that's the beauty of it. So that is one of the key plans of this series of episodes that we're going to be doing every month, is any hot topics that come out, definitely startup business topics, because you and I touched on a whole lot of them. You said, can we do an episode on startup businesses? I said, no, that's a whole series right here all day. Exactly. There's a lot of subjects to touch on there. Growing businesses as well, but we're also going to do a lot of meet the teams, because there's lots of you in Optimum that some of them we might not even know beyond a name at the bottom of an email. So get to know the people behind them, you including at some point. We'll get to know a bit more about Michael Blaken, just to scare you even more.
That's it. That's where we change it from a cup of tea to a beer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we need to. Absolutely. That's a good idea. I like it. I do some more of these shows in the sporting world as well, for motor racing and ice hockey, and I do tend to have a gin and tonic on the end of those. I'm renowned for it, but that's okay. some charity spotlights because you guys get involved in charity work, educational pieces, and all of those things. But I know that you and I had a conversation recently, is that one of the things that really stood out for you, I mean, just to make it clear, by the way, this actually isn't live, this one. This isn't as live. So we've just hit record instead of broadcast. There's no smoke and mirrors. It is just go. Hence nervous boy. And it's go. So it's as live, but we will be doing a lot of them where they are genuinely live. And what can happen there is that you're able to ask questions, make comments, add your own bits of advice and experiences, and we can put them up on screen, and it will show with your profile photo and your name, as well as your comment and your question, when you're watching them on the Optimum YouTube channel and Facebook page, and we'll be able to respond accordingly to those questions. Hence, I know episode 2 is going to be following straight after the autumn statement.
Yep.
22nd of November.
That's it. Yeah. So we'll look the day after,
Probably
or
the day
so,
after, yeah.
And have a look at that and see what they've come up with.
Yeah, and any questions, all those kind of things. So it's a big mix. But you had, and you said it whilst I was in earshot to somebody else about what this really meant to you compared to the alternative. And tell us about that. So instead of speaking to camera.
Oh yeah, it's I think if we're on camera, we're presenting and we're not relaxed, we're not ourselves. The big thing of this is to make sure you see the real side to Optimum and the people involved, so that you know if you come to work with us what you're getting and what you're experiencing. And for me, when I chat with Chris, we can have a chat. There's no cameras around, and we can chat for hours, and it's all great, and I'm not worried about it at all. Whereas I think if you suddenly put it as a scripted process, then you're not going to get what you should get out of it. You're just going to get something that someone's told you need to get. And I think this is more realistic to everyone else.
And I agree. And that was really one of where visual PR came from. I'm lucky that I get to be a motorsports commentator, presenter, voiceover artist, all those things. And I know what it's like to present on camera. It isn't natural. And you even had one not that long ago where it's like, right, can you script us something and then put yourself in front of camera, record it, and then send it through? And it was like, nope.
Simple as that. No, it's one of the easiest decisions I made.
I remember you telling me, it was like, no, it's not happening. Whereas the whole idea of these is that they are fireside chats. You know, we're having conversations. We'll be able to, in future ones, have multiple guests. We'll be able to have people that could be on the other side of the world on webcams and all sorts of things. That's the beauty of this visual PR production. Not meaning to promote myself there,
That's good.
That is the
Take
idea.
the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, why not? But that is the theory of it. So we're going to be doing plenty of these. Some of them live, some of them as live, some of them where we'll be in different locations, some where we'll be together. Heck, we can be on venues, all sorts of things that's going to happen. We're going to get some customer stories, all sorts of things, so that we can promote what some of the Optimum clients are up to as well. With always sort of trying to think about how that, you know, what can be taken from that story to help other organizations.
Well, that's it. We look after so many businesses, and actually, although the industries are completely different, what they're facing, another client would have got through, and we can use our experience of saying that, have seen this happen, use it, try this and see if that helps you out. Because at the end of the day, we want to help people out. That's the main thing, is actually help your business and help the account side out, and away you go.
Yeah, and in fairness, you know, I made a key point about that, is that I am speaking as a client of Optimum, and this isn't about blowing smoke up their bums or anything like that, but it is literally that I am trying to run my business, and I don't know what I don't know until I need to know it. And that's the problem that I'm facing. I love how proactive these guys are, and that's really what this show is going to be all about, is that we're going to cover a lot of subjects. Right, let's move on to that hot subject. And you and I have spoken about this numerous times leading into this, and there's still aspects of it that are confusing and thorny as heck. The VAT threshold, and that how you need to register to be VAT registered. Sorry.
Yeah, that's it. So the first step is to work out when you have to be VAT registered, because not every business has to be. Some are smaller trading, some are larger. So it's important to look at when your turnover exceeds 85,000. Now, I think It's to look at what's happened in the last 12 months.
And this was a key one for me. Sorry to interrupt, but this is important. That I assumed, and you tell me that most business owners do, that was the financial year. But when you tell us the last 12 months, you literally mean the last 12 months.
The last 12 completed months. So most businesses will see their accounts once a year, when the accountant gives them their piece of paper that says, this is your turnover, these are your accounts, and they look at it and go, okay, I was over, I was under. But the problem is with that is when you actually go and check it and you do the actual test for HMRC, and it's the last 12 completed months on a rolling basis. So for now, we would be looking up to the end of September. So for the last 12 months up to the end of September 23, if then that was a period quite a while ago, because your accounts were 9 months ago, you could have breached that limit so far ago that there's a whole lot of trouble and admin and potentially money out of pocket expenses and stuff that you got to experience.
Well, and on that basis is that it genuinely is an issue, because I could naively think, well, okay, I should have been registered 4 months ago. Well, let's get on with it now. It gets backdated, and suddenly that 1,000, just arbitrary figures, that 1,000 and 1,200, I'm going to go really easy now, 1,200 invoice is suddenly only £1,000 to me, because 200 is going straight out.
Yeah, that's it. And it just gets it if you have to backdate it, if you can't go back and do a potential VAT only invoiced, if they're a business customer, we can talk about that in a bit. But essentially, HMRC will just deem every payment that you've received includes VAT. So they just take 1/6 of it straight off the top and go, yeah, you owe us that.
You think is profit at the moment.
Yeah, and they're not sympathetic in this basis, because they're saying you should have seen it coming up. Well, with everything spinning as you're growing a business and maybe adding on staff and everything like that, costs going up, maybe a big contract. Usually we see it a lot with in construction, where suddenly a big contract comes along and they're there and it's planning, it's fine. And it might be a 60 grand contract and it takes the best part of a year, and that's fine. But whilst they're on site, the customer goes, oh, I want some variations. I want some extra. I want you to do the patio 3 times as big now you're here. Or can you build this garden structure while you're here? And then all of a sudden that £60,000 contract, £90,000, and the customer, the builder, they've just been working hard to please their customer, make sure they get paid. But in the meantime, they've gone over the VAT limit, but they've not realised. Yeah. They've just been doing what they've been needed to do, which is their day job.
And I mean, I don't know whether I'm going to make myself look daft in public now with this one, but for me, it's really hard to know what that rolling 12-month revenue is. And maybe some watching will go, of course you should know, but I would be sort of thinking the financial year, I'd be all over that. But I wouldn't go, we sit here now, tail end of October, and go, right, I know what I've done between now and last October. I probably don't.
No. So with some businesses where we know they're getting up near that limit, is we give them a spreadsheet which they just keep putting on the next month's turnover. So once they've completed a month, so now they will put September onto the spreadsheet, and then that spreadsheet will automatically calculate it, and it will jump up and go, you got a problem, or they'll see how much they can put in the next month before they have a problem, so they can try and preempt it as much as possible. When they're going to go over that limit.
So does that mean, from your perspective then, if your client is not VAT registered, you by default are kind of keeping half an eye on that?
Yeah, so we know we tend to know the ones that are growing. And if there's someone that's doing 30-40 grand turnover, just a single one owner business, then you don't need to worry too much. And we might just mention it over the time of working with them. Yeah. Just be aware. If you suddenly kick off, let us know. Yeah, keep an eye on it. But there's some that are always around that limit. They're there or thereabouts, and so we make it clear to them that they got to work with us. We give them the spreadsheet for those that want to keep an eye on it. And I have one who he sends me a note every month saying, "No, we're still good. We're still good." And then I know that probably in a few months' time he'll go, "Nah, I'm over now." Right. Because more businesses now are having to go VAT registered, not necessarily because they're growing, just because prices are increasing.
I saw that in your blog, is the fact that yes, it might be, you might be staying the same or marginally growing, but the fact that the prices are going up, suddenly that revenue, because it's revenue, isn't it, not profit?
Yeah, it's what money comes in from a customer, and I think people forget that as well. They assume that it's their profit. So I haven't got £85,000 of profit, but no, it's what money comes in direct from the customer. that is triggering whether you've received that much money. You might not have made any money at all, but you might still need to be VAT registered.
Well, and here lies an element, and apologies if I'm taking this out of turn, because there's so much that we've been discussing about this that we'll be bouncing backwards and forwards. But I know that I registered Open Doors Training Limited, made it VAT registered straight away, because I knew I was going to have, let's just say, blue chip clients, and I wanted to look professional even though I started. And you've said that that's quite common, but it comes with its own challenges.
It's the same with setting up a limited company as well, is that there's more cost with being a limited company. There's more costs and potential risk with being VAT registered, because if it goes wrong, HMRC are putting a hand out for you to fix it.
Yeah.
So there's that, but it's the other side, it's the image. So businesses who are working with you don't want to see that it's just you, even though it is just you. If they see a limited company, if they see a VAT registration, they assume you're naturally above 100 grand, say, turnover, roughly speaking. And so they've already got this predetermined image that, yeah, we'll work with you.
Yeah.
And that's good. If in those examples, I've got someone who's got income of 10 grand, he runs it through a limited company, and VAT registration makes no financial sense at all, but he really wants to do that work. Yeah. And so his thing is that he's got to have that, because he wouldn't have the work otherwise.
Yeah.
And that's just how the commercial world is sometimes.
However, you raised a key one, because I said, yeah, I did that. Doesn't everybody? And you go, well, that's fine if you're B2B, business to business sales, but if you're B2C, and that therefore that's a normal Joe Public consumer, I've just become 20% more expensive.
Yeah, that's it. So you put the price on. So a business who's VAT registered claims your VAT back. Yeah. That's fine. Someone who's not VAT registered, generally Mr. and Mrs. Smith down the road, they don't get to claim that back. They just have to pay it. And that's what the VAT is. It's essentially it's a tax on the end consumer. Yeah. So all the way through, when it's business to business, everyone's paying it, claiming it, paying it back, and they get to the end, and it's the end person who has to pay that extra 20%.
Right.
And if you then voluntarily go and put it on, and you're not working for these ones along the way, you're going straight for the end. You just added 20% straight onto your price, which again could put you out of the market and not get some of the work.
So we need to be aware of how our business is, where our business is at, so that now's the time to get VAT registered, and we need to keep an eye on it. We see it coming, even more so at the moment, because, and I quote, HMRC admitting it's taking 40 days to complete registration.
Working days.
Working
really? Days, yeah.
40 working days, goodness me, to complete registration and provide the VAT number. And if that wasn't bad enough, you've got plenty of examples where they still haven't received their VAT number.
Yeah, so you've got to, in the month you go over, so say you go over in October now, we went over the VAT limit,
yeah,
you'd have to be registered by the 1st of December. So you've got the end of the month you're currently in, plus 1 month, essentially, to get your ducks in a row,
yeah,
and to get VAT registered. That's used to be fine. It used to take 3 or 4 days. You put the application in, the VAT number appears online or in the post. No problem.
In fact, it still says that it does.
Yeah, it still does. Yeah, we looked at that late night. When they changed the system over with the old MTD change, making tax digital, I'm
impressed you did that. Then cleared that one up. I'm impressed.
I'll get better. I'll get into this now. And they essentially the new system can't keep up. So you've got more businesses being VAT registered because they're having to go over the limit because the prices are going up. A business before that wouldn't need to be VAT registered now needs to be, just to be the same size and the same profit as they were. So there's more businesses being VAT registered, and it's a new system, and the new system, they can't just keep up with the new applications. So what was a few days, 3, 5, 6 days, is now up to 40 days. But the problem is actually not just that, because you can preempt that, you can get that in just in time and the process works. But if they're saying they're posting the VAT numbers out, we got clients who aren't receiving them, and we check the address with HMRC. But so before anyone says that, we have checked the right address, it's the right one. And we'll resend it. Well, I've had one customer or client, he's had 7 times apparently they sent the letter out, and he's still not received it, and they've agreed. So we go, naturally, you pick up the phone, you speak to HMRC and say, can we have the VAT number over the phone? And they say no. they're not giving it over the phone. So I had a client who just didn't. I think he didn't believe that was the case. So he got rained off one day, and I said, "Go on, you sit on the phone for a couple of hours and you speak to him." And he did. He phoned them up, got through to him, and they said, "We'll post it out to you." And he goes, "Can I have it over the phone?" "No, we can't give it to you. Your own VAT number, you're not allowed to get." Even though he passed all the security, he passed who he was, all his ID checks, the company ID checks, everything. They went, "No, we can only post it to you." He said, "Well, you've been posting it out for 7 months now." And so his application went in February.
Oh my word.
And we know he's on the system because when we speak to him, they say, "Yeah, he's VAT registered," but nothing.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, I get the security is going to be there, that maybe they might not even tell you, but it should be, because we signed for you guys as our accountants to have that run with everything else. But you're able to.
But we can't at the moment. You can't authorize us as an agent because we haven't got the VAT number to go with it to be able to authorize us. So we can't formally do it. We can send a letter in and say this business VAT number to be followed.
Yeah.
But it kind of hits a little clink in the system. But they still wouldn't give it to us over the phone because they don't give it to the director.
Well, and that's my next point, is that you then go, right, let's remove that potential stumbling block by the owner of the business, speak to them direct. No, still not able to do it. And that's staggering. I mean, hey, maybe not all 7 of those was their fault. It might be Royal Mail or whatever else. I accept that, but it's still just bonkers. The reason this is a big, big issue is that he's still having to charge that VAT without it being separated out on the invoice as VAT.
Well, this becomes the problem. Is so HMRC say that you can, until you got a VAT number, you cannot put VAT separately on an invoice, right? Because another business can't claim it back unless you've got a VAT number. Okay, so you got no VAT number, you can't charge it. But you're supposed to charge, you're liable for VAT from the effective date. So essentially, like now, if we're using today as the example, from the 1st of December. If we're selling stuff in middle of December, that'll be subject to VAT when you come to your VAT return. But you can't charge VAT, but you're still subject to it. But you also then, so what HMRC says, okay, so if it's £7.5 plus VAT, just do an invoice for £9. And then you do another one, follow it up. Here's your VAT invoice for £7.5 plus VAT. Okay, but I give you an invoice and say, right, I'm going to give you one with 20% more, and I'll give you one later down the line so you can claim the VAT back. You're going to go, no, I'm not going to pay you 20% more, not knowing I'm going to get the VAT back. Yeah. Even if you got a lovely letter from me saying this is the process, here's the application, here's the reference number, you're just going to go, no.
You might be lucky with the odd client, but yeah, a lot.
And if you've got a big, so I've got someone who's currently working, and he's invoicing into like top PLC companies and stuff, where they got big SAP accounting systems, which are the beast. And they literally won't be able to put it in. They'll have to follow it up with a credit note and a re-invoice to try and get it into their system. So then all of a sudden you're making that relationship for your business, our businesses that we're looking after, their customer. You're making a problem there when they're just trying to get into like maybe working with them. And they're going, oh yeah, we got an invoice that might have that on, but it might not. You might have to claim it back. You might have to do some more work. And you got that, or you got someone else here who's all VAT registered, all paperwork, all sorted, and it just goes through. Yeah. So if it comes down to a choice, I give you the work or I give you the work, who are you going to give it to? The one that gives you the less hassle.
And there's going to be, we talked earlier about going VAT registered because of that perception that you look, for want of a better phrase, more professional. And maybe that's just us as the supplier feels that way more than anything. Is that suddenly I look unprofessional if I'm going, this is what I'm going to have to do, and later down the line we'll be able to sort that out. They're going to go, hang on, that's not particularly professional.
And we tried it. So a friend started up a business and we got to that stage. It's like, what do we do? And I said, look, I've done it before. Here's a letter, here's this. And the other side just went, no, hang on a minute. I thought we were dealing with a bigger firm here. How is this? How have you only just got to this? They do a lot more background checks, and they are still working with them, but it had to go through another sort of meeting to explain, look, I'm a new startup. I've just come into this business, but here's my wealth of experience. And then in fact gave a CV to the customer to prove that actually he was worth his credit.
Which you could be lucky with, but it's a lot more stress.
And it could be a huge invoice or a big start of work that you banked on starting up the business. And if you haven't got the VAT registration through no fault of your own or the accountant or anything like that, it's just HMRC that are causing the problem. And now you can look, it's not just with us. I've spoken to other accountancy firms who have all said the same thing. And if you go on HMRC, if you put it into Google, you can see the HMRC forum. So it's people just saying that. And all they say is contact the VAT registration department. And I can guarantee Claire in our office has done that. I don't know how many times she is definitely fed up with me saying, can you chase this one up again? Can you chase this one up again? Because it comes through. Oh, yeah, we still haven't got those ones through. And she's still ringing them up. And you either get cut off or you get through to someone who'll go, we'll post it out to you.
Yeah, the same old thing again. And there lies the problem. I mean, it is an absolute nightmare. I mean, you can voluntarily register yourself. So you kind of might think, well, I'm not there yet, but I can get there. You have the ability to set a date, but I was realizing that I've not understood that fully, because I just an example, I said, oh, so if I wasn't VAT registered, I could register myself to start from the 1st of April next year, new financial year. And you went, no, you're not allowed to do it that far in advance.
It doesn't. Their systems won't allow you to go that far in advance. So you can't even circumvent and go, right, I'm going to be really proactive. They got real delays. Let's put it real months ahead and make sure we're fine and we'll get it all sorted. You can't do it that far.
I mean, with that being the case, because that's, I mean, it's just crazy that allegedly you've got, either you're going to use your example, £7,500 invoice, you would have to, if a client's got an issue, you'll have to keep it at £7,500, no VAT on it, but you know that once your thing's, that £7,500 VAT is actually 120%. So
you lose a bit, or you go back after and say, look, here's my VAT invoice. Can I have the extra 1,500 quid, please?
That they know they can claim straight back again, but there's still the cash flow at their end that they're not going to be happy because they wouldn't have budgeted for the cash flow.
Yeah. And
how does it look?
It's just a faff, and it's just it's making their systems adapt to it.
Do you know? And I was going to say the Muffin Man, but he's down Drury Lane. But it's not that one. Do you know? I did warn you.
Yeah,
do you know how much longer this is going to last with?
There's nothing to say how long it's going to last.
Do we know why this is happening?
It's just more. I think it's more. When I was looking at last week, it's more to do with the new system and the high volume of VAT applications.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's to do with more people getting on the VAT scheme. Now I know England's got one of the higher thresholds before you have to be VAT registered. I think if you go to some other places in Europe, the threshold's a lot lower. So most businesses are VAT registered, whereas England we don't. But I think what they're now doing is keeping it stuck at 85, and they have done for quite some years, means that more businesses now get VAT registered, which suits HMRC because you're on the new system, you get more information sent to them, they get to be aware of it. And it is the important thing is not to look at this as in a negative view, because the perception now would be, well, let's not go over the VAT threshold, let's keep it below that because we don't need to get into that hassle. But that's not the right mindset, because businesses are out there to grow and if you ever want a staff member, you're definitely going to go over that limit. If you're like in construction and you buy some materials, you're going to go over that limit. So the idea is to go, right, we got to get over it and we got to grow, but obviously you're going to have to go through this pain. And I can't sit here, like you said about, we can't sugarcoat it. I can't tell them that it's going to be a nice easy move and it's going to be one piece of paper in, 4 days later we get the VAT number back and away we go. It's just not possible. But we just have to preempt it the best we can, and we have to get the numbers in as soon as we can. We have to work out what customers could be in the problematic month or so, that if we have a VAT number, don't have a VAT number when you invoice them. Let's kind of work a little bit ahead and try and get it as easy as possible, really.
And I think that's a key thing that stood out for me here, is that in terms of the delays, if they're saying 40 days to complete it, 40 working days to complete it, it's like, look, new system. I'm sure since the pandemic, there's been staff changeovers and all those kind of things. I don't, that you kind of go, do you know what? Bless them. They're trying. I mean, it's a heck of how they do it. I do not know. It's incredible. But it's that 7 times it's been sent in the post and they can't do it. That seems frustrating.
And they have a log of it as well, so they can see that we phoned up that many times, because they're like, oh yeah, we see you phoned. So it's not like they're going, oh, you're just saying it 7 times. There's actually on the system, and
that's where they're letting themselves.
And I think that's where they could improve things, and that's where they can help work with the business owners, or the accountants who are submitting it, to go, I can see you phoned, I can see it's just not getting to you. I'll give you the 9 digits if you can pass all the security checks, everything else. If we can do the VAT reference, if we can do the date, if we can do all the security checks and everything. You
need to promote to them. What is it you guys use? Is it Obvio or something?
Onvio.
that you get those secure documents through to me, and the security is high. No one else is getting those documents, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I get that no one's going to email that document through, even though we live in that age these days. But something like Onvio, where you share that.
Yeah, and so when HMRC are doing an inquiry, they do release Dropbox links for 24 hours, 48 hours to be able to put secure documents in to pass between us and HMRC, so we can do it electronically, so we haven't got to send a big pack of stuff in.
So they are already open.
So they're doing that, but they don't like it because it takes more hassle. They like you to just do a and this isn't supposed to be a HMRC slagging match, but they just go, just sign off that you're aware of the threat of emails, and we'll send stuff back and forth. But if we go, no, we want a secure Dropbox, so that they have got that procedure in place. So it could be that
could use that.
Look, here's I can see this is the registered email address for the business. We'll just set up a link and you get your VAT number there. Well, it's obviously not getting to you in the post.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed if everybody's still, but in essence, for other people, as in us, is that we need to sort of get ourselves ahead of that curve, keep an eye on things of where we're getting close, and start going for it as quick as possible. And heck, maybe even if you are B2B, is get yourself registered way before it's necessary.
Just start it, yeah.
And it's done. Like I did. I chose to do that partly because I thought it would look better with my clients, but equally it was just something I've not had to think about now.
Yes, that's it. Once you've registered, once you're sorted,
yeah,
you do your quarterly submissions.
But if you're B2C, a little bit trickier because you suddenly make yourself 20% more expensive because the customer can't claim that back.
Yeah, and so like you said, it's looking forward, it's planning. Same as what we do with all our clients. Let's look forward. Most businesses are now on a form of cloud software, your Xero, your QuickBooks and stuff. So let's look forward and see when it's going to happen, and don't be caught going, oh, it was 2 months ago. Oh, now I'm another couple of months down the line till I get a number. If it all goes smoothly, because the thing is, we got to assume that it's going to work smoothly. It's just going to be the 40 days, and the other ones are the anomalies. We've registered a few dozen businesses this year, and the last sort of 12 months. And we have only got 7 or so of those that are the real problematics, but there are 7 real problematic ones. But it's just constantly looking forward and looking at where you're going with the business, because most people out there are there to grow the business, to either make a future fund or for the generation, or just for themselves, a better lifestyle.
And you do have the whole tax team that we can liaise with to get this managed.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
So I think that's the essence, to sort of like wrap this up into a conclusion of this, is that it definitely wasn't meant to be a sanger mash. It was frankly just to go, listen, you need to be ahead of the curve on this. We need to be aware of it. I didn't know these challenges until I was speaking to you. I should say until I read your blog, but I hadn't read it until then.
Sorry, it's on video now.
That's fine. You've got it. It's fine. It's fine. It's just try to get ahead of it, get yourself sorted. Don't leave yourself. I guess that's the point. Don't leave yourself vulnerable for it.
That's it, because you don't, as a growing business, you don't want to be going through the process, going through the VAT threshold, and then the accountant coming along 6 months down the line saying, right, here you are, we've done your VAT number. You haven't charged VAT on there because you played it by the book and you couldn't charge it, so you didn't charge it. And now you've got an extra 5 or 6 grand of cost. You're going to go, well, that's not in my budget. Exactly. I shouldn't have to pay that. And that's like, on a growing firm, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
that could be a recruitment of a new staff to be able to take it to the next level. That could be a new machine. That could be anything, just to get them growing. And you're saying, oh yeah, we got to take it away to give it to the HMRC, because I think a lot of people at the moment are going, well, I can't charge VAT because I haven't got a VAT number, so I won't charge VAT. I'll charge it as soon as I get the VAT number. But actually, as that time goes on, it's still back here that you're still liable, and you're still going along here going, well, I haven't got it, so I'm waiting. Which
I would be naive enough to probably fall into that trap, to be honest. You go, well, if I haven't got it, I'm obviously not supposed to, but it's not. So remind me, so we hit the threshold now in October. I've got till the 1st of December. I need to be charging
VAT. That's your effective date of registration.
Fine.
Yeah. Unless you suddenly do 85 grand, you're going to do it in the next 30 days. So say some people, if they've got a new contract, they've been going along, it's 50, 60K, something like that. But then the next month kicks off with a new contract and they go over that in the next 30 days. Then you got to register now straight away.
Oh, we see.
For that. That's one. It doesn't happen very often because you can't. A lot of businesses don't go along steady. Then
they go boom. Yeah.
But it's generally when they've signed a big contract or something. Because up to that point, if it's just they got busy, they didn't know they were going to do that much. But it's like knowing full well you had a contract, it was 100 grand a month, so you were over straight away.
And with you guys and your tax team is that it's not just contact you because we think we might be getting close. It's like, hey, hell, speak before it, so that you can be ahead of it with you, and you guys might even go, no, there's no need to at the moment, but let's keep an eye on it. And I think the big one that jumps out is the amount of times we're forced to put up our prices. That's the way of the world at the moment. Everybody's costs are going up, so our sales price have to go up, and it's feeding everything else. Somehow we're supposed to be bringing inflation down. Let's not get into that one. But just throw the grenade in.
No, we'll have that next one. We'll have that on the next one after the budget.
But it is, suddenly your prices go up even a little bit. Well, suddenly you multiply that by every bit of business has gone up by that. Then suddenly you find that in a 12-month period, you're actually nearer or past that threshold than you might have originally thought.
And you just don't realise, because again, some people think it's profit. They're thinking, oh, it's 85k profit. No, it's money coming in from your customers. And so what we do, so ones that know they're getting up near it, is to use a spreadsheet. And we have your rolling 12 months there, and you add in the last month's turnover figure on there, and then it'll jump out straight away whether there's a problem. So that's us working with you. Brilliant. So that we're not jumping in every month, but we're giving you a setup that you go, right, just quickly add 1 month number in off your QuickBooks, off your zero, and it will then tell you what your 12 months turnover is. So we have that with some customers, and they'll phone up and they'll go, oh, I'm getting near, but I'm not quite, so we're all right for another month. Great, fine, no problem. And then it'll be suddenly you get the phone call, go, I couldn't do anything about it, I'm over now, let's go. And we go. But we kind of know, some of them even know it because they go, oh, I'm going to drop this in next month of income. Yeah. That's now, I know I'm going to go over this month.
Yeah.
So they'll get the ball rolling straight away. So instead of it waiting till like the 20th of the month to register, they know it's going to go over this month, so they do it from the first. So you get nearly 2 whole months in the HMRC system to try and get your VAT number.
Fine. Okay. Well, I hope you've managed to follow all of that. It is straightforward in reality. It's keep an eye on it. Be aware that they're saying it takes 40 days, working days. There is a couple of horror stories where it takes longer. So it is just be ahead. If you're not sure, speak to the team.
Yeah, definitely. Just pick up the phone, drop us an email. Yeah. That's what we're here for. We're there to work with you. We're not there to just be your firefighters at the end. We want to be there at the start before you make a problem.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But equally, I have to say is that if you're not with Optimum and suddenly an issue has arisen, I also recommend these guys. They are good firefighters as well. But the great thing is they're very proactive at trying to sort of work with you and help you. So even if you're not on board, I recommend give these guys, drop them a line. You'll see the websites. Where is it? Can I point to it? There, right there. The website's there, and it's got the contact page on there. And drop them a line, have a conversation, see if it's relevant. I'm doing your sales job there for you, mate.
Perfect. Couldn't ask for more.
Well, it's easy to do it when the fact that I'm a client, so I've got that experience, is that I genuinely feel it. As if it was coming from you. It's a proper pitch. This is genuinely not a pitch. It's like, have a chat with them and see what the situation is. But try not to let yourself get caught out with the VAT threshold sort of trap, really.
Yeah.
So there you go. So we'll be back on next month, and we do believe that that's going to be, we'll have a look at the autumn statement. What sort of things do they tend to look at in the autumn statement?
Generally what tax change is going to do. And I think that's what's going to be important this year. I've just done a bit for our newsletter, actually. So if people want to copy the newsletter, that'll be coming out at the end of the month, about what we think is going to change. Usually you wouldn't expect too many big changes, but I think they've collected this is the year where they collected the most amount of tax, and I don't think they're going to stop. I think they're just still going to keep going and collecting and just tweaking, and little things like not increasing the income rate band, not increasing the VAT threshold, all those little stealth taxes that people don't realize is happening.
Yeah,
they're just paying a little bit more tax because they need to earn a little bit more, pay a little bit more tax for the same thing.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of those going on, and I think they might just the main rates I don't think will change, but I think they'll doing some digging underneath to drum up some more tax.
Well, we'll have a look. We'll do review of it. We'll analyze it. We'll see if there's any advice on it, and it'll be great if there's any. That one's going to be live. Is the plan?
Yep.
So that you can actually ask the questions and the comments. If there's anybody else there who's got their take on it, it'll always be interesting to hear other angles. Doesn't mean it's right. It means it just gets the conversation going. With regards to this one, if you're watching this, we've obviously recorded this as live, but please do still put comments or questions against this video on the Optimum YouTube and Facebook page, and we'll be keeping an eye on it as much as possible so that if you've got questions, we can hopefully answer them. Outside of that, if you don't want to put it publicly, of course, you can drop a contact. What's your email address, Michael?
mblaken@optps.co.uk.
OPTPS. I should have put that on here. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do this just to show you how good this is. Although it's not good now because I got to
lean across the table.
I should have thought about that. So it's
MBLAKEN
at optps.co.uk. So just to show that we're doing this, they say never work with kids, animals, or Chris Dawes. Is that right?
Yeah, all good.
There you go. Blaken at OPTPS. Crikey.
Yeah.
I should have had that on there already, shouldn't I, really? So, drop him a line if you've got any specific questions. Even if you're not a customer yet, don't panic. Drop them a line. It's always open for conversations. And I think that really wraps this one up nicely and brings it to a close. Thank you so much for that, Michael.
Thank you, Chris.
No, I appreciate the knowledge. It's very much appreciated, and we'll be back next month. As I say, autumn statement is the plan, but remember, these are every month, and we should do a variety of topics, maybe educational pieces, customer spotlights, charity spotlights, meet the teams, all sorts of things. I think you and I especially are looking forward to it, to be honest, aren't we? Doing something a little bit different.
Yeah, there's definitely passion there to do it and see where it goes.
Especially as he gets upset every time at networking that they get accused of accountants being boring.
Yeah, watch the eye roll. Oh, I'm an accountant. Oh, yeah, another one.
Not from Optimum. We're keeping this different. Listen, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you again next time. Cheers all.
Brilliant.